Live. We are live, are we?
We are.
Yes,
Gosh, we are.
Oh,
Amazing. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I don't even know whether I'm in. Oh, here we go. So me and Katie today have been experimenting with our new virtual background. So if one of us disappears at any point, don't worry about it. We're still here.
You've kind of got to stay still to not disappear. Like, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to try and stay still.
So we might be like this. So anyway, good afternoon to all of our happy wee followers. So we are here today to talk to you and to chat to Amelie Wellness, Amelie Pro, who is a holistic health coach, and she specializes in the menopause and sleep and so many different areas, nutrition, blah, blah, blah. And she's amazing. So we are here to talk to her today because it was Menopause Awareness Month last month and Menopause Awareness Day. And these conversations just sort of happen when these awareness days come around, and we thought it'd be really important. It's not that we're fashionably late, it's that we just wanted to put it in November to carry on the conversation.
And it's so important to talk about, isn't it? Like, I think these subjects are so taboo that people almost hide away from talking about them. So thank you for joining us, Amelie. This is really exciting.
Very
exciting. So welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us, because you have been talking a lot about like this perimenopause. What is perimenopause?
So I'm going to tell you everything about it. So first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's nice to be back with the Happy We Health Club. So I think, like you said, I want just to talk back again and know what Katie was mentioning, that is quite, again, very, very taboo. And even if there is that month of awareness in November, still a lot of women do not share that they are currently on perimenopause, on menopause, they're having symptoms. They don't tell that to their friends, they don't tell that to their family. I was just at a conference last week, and a woman do not share that with her husband, but we share that with her son. So it's very much like feeling, this, because it's associated with aging, we have been bombarded, since we are like that, since we're very young, our mother, grandmother, with this whole anti-aging thing. Yeah, so it's all, you put this cream on your face if you want to age. It's all about, we are against aging, and it's completely bananas, because we are aging. That is a natural process, and menopause and perimenopause is a natural transition in a woman's life, so we can't avoid it. It's going to happen. So the question is, how can we live it more in a healthy and a happy way? Because we shouldn't suffer. This is number one. Menopause is not an illness. Yeah, no, it's not. It's normal. Not because people are thinking, you've got menopause. Yes, I've got menopause. No, it's okay, right? So it's really, really important. I mean, seriously, if you think of people, you're like, what do you have? Menopause? Really? So, we're having this conversation behind closed door, and you don't even share that with your mates, because you're like, So now question about, so for me, it's really important, that I'm very passionate about it, to not just only helping women to going through that transition to menopause and beyond, but it's also give that awareness, because there's coming. Perimenopause, by the way, is very associated, like, oh yeah, it's for women like 50 years old, 60. No. Perimenopause, you can start experiencing symptoms back in the mid-30s. Early 30s, you will start experiencing, are you ready? Now they're crying, those two. You see, and that is what the thing, I know, don't worry. It gets better, by the way. It's not all dramatic. So stay with me, Katie. Don't disappear. It's going to be fine. Stay with me. I feel like they all lie. There is just Karen. Yes, I'm strong. I can face this. Stay with me, Karen.
Katie, we get together. That's
I'm counting on you. So, and in the UK, just to give you the numbers, we have over 13 million women going through perimenopause or menopause. So it's like 1/3 of the population that is going through, menopause, right? And this is what the thing is, we have so many of us going through that phase, and it's unfair that we don't have the support, the knowledge, the awareness of what is our symptom, what is going to happen to us, and how can we manage it. And there is some symptoms that can be really severe, and I will talk about that, the average of things, but some women, 1 woman out of 4 will think about leaving their job because of the symptoms, because of the severity of the symptom. And that is crazy. So as women, our generation, or in our generation of our mother, we fought, we work hard, to do a job that we wanted to do. And then when you arrive to menopause, because you have one of the symptoms can be anxiety, depression, brain fog, you don't recognize yourself, you have loss of confidence, you want to leave your job. I went to a conference and this woman took 3 months off. She said, I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. And the doctor said, let me give you some antidepressant. No, you don't need antidepressant. You need to look at what is your symptoms and menopause. So it's a topic that for me is really important, because from us women and, what we've done, worked so hard, and especially around that midlife, around the 40s, this is why it's so stressful for women, because you've got, your mom, you've got your kids, and then in some time, you care for your parents, and it's all over the place. You're really at the peak of your career. So there's a lot of stresses around that time of their life. So this is a really, really important topic. And I think we have the right, to know how to navigate, that transition without that major suffer. So perimenopause. So really good question, Karen. Sorry, I went on a long tangent. I'm like, I feel like, this is a French side, la revolution, sorry. But it's true, it's very important. So let's talk about a little bit itself on perimenopause. So first, menopause. So menopause is like 3 phases: perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. So your perimenopause is what precedes menopause. So, and that can last maybe 4 years, 5 years, up to 12 years. So it can be 12 years on perimenopause, experiencing symptoms. And menopause, guess what, is last 1 day. 1 day is the anniversary of your 12 months of your last period. So when you have your last period, 12 months later, boom, you're in menopause. So menopause is just 1 day, and then you're on postmenopause. So all the period that is really important for us is the perimenopause. And this is what, where you have most of the symptoms, and then the symptoms evolve after, the menopause. So that is your perimenopause, menopause. So when we talk about menopause, it's very important to use the right language. Where are you at is the perimenopause. And as I mentioned earlier, the perimenopause can start in your early 30s. And you imagine you have some women who are literally going through that, and you're like, what? But I'm so young. Why the hell I'm going through menopause now? And this is where, the lack of information and awareness, and even, our doctors are not equipped with all of that, because, menopause is only one module of the entire course. Anyway, that is another topic. So we have an opportunity here, to support women. So this is what perimenopause and menopause. I think I went like for 10 minutes.
You did 9 minutes.
Clear, Karen? Did I answer your question?
And I think that there's so much that's not understood about this. Like for me, my mum had a hysterectomy, my mother-in-law had a hysterectomy, stuff like that. So that puts you straight into it regardless of what age you are or what stage you are or anything like that. That is just, so not knowing what happens and what the symptoms are, what are the symptoms of perimenopause?
So this is so first of all, let me go back to what you just said, that our mother, they will have gone through that process a little bit without knowing what's going on. So I asked my mom, I said, yeah, what's your menopause? She was like, don't even really feel it. So I was like, she's a lucky one. But some women are like, what is going on? And they didn't have that support and that understanding. And you mentioned something about the hysterectomy, and that is also with patients, with people who go through cancer. They will trigger, with the perimenopause. So you have a lot of women out there that is not just I'm getting my natural transition phase, but it can be also triggered with cancer. So with so a little bit about the symptoms. So with the symptoms, you have, that's very important, is not every woman is the same, and not every woman will go through the same severity or the same level of symptoms. That is really important. So you have some women, it's like maybe we're walking in the park, I've got perimenopause, I feel good, it's okay, a bit of flushes, but that's it. And that is about 20% only of women that they will feel like very light, not very significant. So there is hope. But then there is about 60% of women who will experience, mild, symptoms. And then you got 20% of women who experience severe symptoms. So roughly 80% of women we are experiencing, perimenopause symptoms. And on top of the symptoms, they have listed about 34 symptoms. Now, guess what? There is even more than that. I think we were listing now 46 symptoms. But again, as you know, and we know that very well, guys, is the fact that, we are all unique. We are this bio-individuality. So every single woman, according to your environment, your lifestyle, what's going on with your life, your history, your family history, your symptoms is going to be slightly different. But you have, some common one. And you will have from psychological symptoms, like you will have your loss of confidence, of motivation, you will have your mood changes, you feel flat, you feel like tired all the time. You have, your hot flashes, you have, some proper genitourinary and urinary symptoms. This is the one that we discuss behind closed door. Lack of libido, painful sex. I'm telling you, that is one of the symptoms that women, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk to our partner about it. Atrophy, we tell, we can hold the pee. So imagine, for some women, they are in a meeting, or, they were with the kids and like, I can't hold it anymore. So you have also some palpitation, there's some tiredness, you got weight gain. That is a big one, that a lot of women really lose a lot of their confidence. A lot of my clients, this is what they come with: hot flashes, like I literally sweat the hell out of me. And, I wake up, so the sleep quality can be also triggered. So you wake up at 3 a.m. like that. And then, you can't go back to sleep by 5 a.m. You wake up, you're completely wet because you have so much flashes. But it's also about this weight gain. And this is like, even like you exercise, you try to go on diet. And this is where we go to the whole spectrum of women get so desperate and go on diet. Do not go on diet, because this is the worst thing that you can do to our body. So there is this big variety of symptoms. And this is the first thing that I do with my client is like, this is a list. Any of that, from a little bit, quite a lot. Yeah, I'm right there. And what is the other things that you're experiencing? And a lot of things that you might experience, you can probably show is your hormones. So it's not you, nothing wrong with you, it's your hormones. Your hormones are literally fluctuating, and they're like, it's like a roller coaster. It's like that. So that's why we are experiencing, the symptoms. So yeah. So.
And we were talking about this earlier today as well, about the whole, because you do quite a lot of work with pelvic floor and stuff like that, and discussing how that's
Yeah, so we were talking about how the pelvic floor and quite a lot of muscles become very weak when we start developing these symptoms. And one of the reasons is that our body stops absorbing different nutrients and different things the way it should, one being calcium, and calcium is needed to ignite muscles, to get muscles to work and to fire up. And one very important muscle that seems to lose its strength, elastin, lovely word, is your pelvic floor. And that's where we do get these symptoms from, of not being able to hold your wee and things like that. So Amelie, is there anything else that you can talk to us about physically? Like how can we combat these symptoms? What can we do?
Yeah, so I think, go back to a little bit of what you mentioned about the pelvic floor and the great work that you've been doing. It's so important that as women, as we as we evolve, and transition, to really strengthening our pelvic floor. My mom did some work, with a nurse about that, and we are in our age, but it comes so late. It comes like when already, everything is like going down. So everything that we can do, and I think there is such a great work, and also is about what can you do which type of movement when you're having some severe symptoms like pain, down there. So then you're not going to be like doing some HIIT training because you're so painful. So there is a lot of things that we need to adapt, and I think listen to our body. But that we're talking about really severe one, and there is an option for that. So the thing is with movement, I want us to go back a little bit about the idea of with perimenopause and menopause is to get our hormones balanced. So we are made of hormones, and these are neurotransmitters, those little messengers that literally are involved in every single function, nearly every single function in our body. And we've got some key hormones that influence our symptoms. So just to get that little bit into the picture, our cortisol level, which is our stress hormone. We've got also our insulin, which is our fat storage, and we've got a thyroid, our circulation or metabolism. And then finally, we've got our estrogen, which is our sex hormone. So those 4 hormones, they like a symphony. So they like, producing a lovely piece of music. But if one of them is imbalanced, then it gets like a quark, you know what I mean? So it's like all of these instruments are not working very well together. So the idea is maintaining, that balance of those hormones throughout our perimenopause. And the disruptors, the disruptors of those hormones, lack of exercise. Movement is one of them. Or too much movement will disturb, those hormones. Like I give you an example of cortisol. If you are already like pumped out, super stressed, don't start doing, I love, you're doing body combat, maybe not body combat because you're already super pumped up. Maybe instead, doing a body balance that, you're offering something a little bit more restorative, still a little bit of, intensity, but not as much. So movement is so important. As we're going through the symptoms, our muscles are getting less, as I mentioned, it can start in our 30s. The circulation of our body is influenced if we don't move. So this is circulation is stagnate, so it's not good for our thyroid. And then also our mood and also our insulin. So movement, exercise, which is incredible, has an impact on every single one of those hormones. So with the movement, it's really critical to do that. However, there is movement and movement. What exactly will help in terms of the symptom? So we think, for example, with hot flashes, don't do anything. It's the opposite. Because movement will help, to get less of those hot flashes. But it's getting, the right combination of movement. What is important is getting more strengthening and resistance training. We need to build our muscles. If we build our muscle, like you were mentioning, the lack of calcium, boom, this is how it helps us to build our bones density by building muscles. So that is really, really important. And I think when we are in our 30s, I include myself in this one. I'm not in my 30s, my age already. It's like I was like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, all intensity, set party. But then, the muscles, this is what you need to keep. So strengthening is really important. So this is something with my client when we work on the movement, routine, include always 2 or 1 times a week, resistance training. And that is really important. And there is always this thing about, oh, I'm going to bulk up. No, don't worry about it. That's not going to happen. And I'm sure, you can talk, Katie, and you can talk about that, about that resistance, how good is for the muscle. So for me, that's number 1. You need to change our routine and including, that strength training. The other thing that is really important is, getting a little bit of that cardio, but not the bambuza cardio, like you're completely, like if you have already quite a lot of, you use your threshold of stresses, Yeah, maybe not, don't do that. But then what is really good is like the HIIT training, because HIIT training, you got that combination of cardio and resistance training, which is really, really, really great. And it's only 30 minutes, because I think this is what I love about, about the Happy We Health Club is you do, those 30-minute workouts. You don't need, like 15 hours, like I need to be at the gym. No, come on, let's just 30 minutes, first thing in the morning, or when you feel it at lunchtime or on the evening, not too late, otherwise you don't fall asleep very well. But that is really, really important. And then the third pillar for me of exercise that you need to include in your day is restorative. And that can be you lay down on Shavasana for 20 minutes. That's it. In that time in the time of our life, rest is your best ally. And we don't take that time because we are so dedicated to everyone else. We're not to ourselves, to our children, to our parents, our grandparents, to our friends, to our client, you name it. But to us, who? Me? No. So that is the number one thing, is rest. So listen to your body when you feel like, oh, I can't do it. And it's not about, come on, go for it. Go for a cardio thing, go for something intense. If you don't feel like it, that's fine. Just lay down on Shavasana, for 20 minutes, take a long deep breath in, really reconnect and just rest. Take a long deep bath. Magnesium is very good. That will really help, to nourish your body and to regenerate. So that is my combo: strength training, cardio probably once a week. And then you've got, your restorative maybe once or twice a week. But it's starting with two things twice a week. Don't get too much on this kind of, every day I need to do something, or at least a walk is included, by the way, because we got all of this natural movement. So not too much sitting, which I'm doing right now, and you too.
And I think that is, you've touched on a really good point as well, though, about like not taking the time to just rest. And we've been talking about this quite a lot as well, because we're just so used to like always being busy, like being busy doing whatever, or busy just being busy, if you know what I mean, not taking that time that we need to just sit and chill or lie and just,
and almost feeling guilty for doing it. We know one of our members, because she wants to watch the telly, she'll iron at the same time because she doesn't want to feel like she's not doing something, whereas actually maybe we just need that time to sit and not do anything.
Yeah, completely. I think you're completely right, Ixiti, with the guiltiness of it. That is our number one trait that we can have a lot as women, is feel guilty. Like there is probably more things I can do instead of doing nothing. Oh yes, the laundry. Oh, taking my children something. Oh, looking at the partner, cooking things. But it's at that time, it's a little bit, you look after everyone for how many years, but we are going to spend 1/3 of our life in that transition.
yeah.
So we have an opportunity to decide how do we want, to spend that next, and this is the next years. And this is the question that I ask my clients is, how do you want to feel? How do you want to move in the next 5, 10, 20 years? That is my question, is really about, rethinking that period. There is nothing negative. It's more like, oh, I've got an opportunity to putting some boundaries where the things that, where I was doing, maybe it doesn't serve me anymore. And what is the thing now that I need that time, for myself? And again, it doesn't need to be hours and hours and hours, but, certain amounts, and just that maybe 20 minutes taking a bath with nobody interrupting.
That is very, very rare. We were just trying to also get the feed up for the Facebook chat, just to see if there was any questions or any comments or anything. Yeah. And we haven't got any questions through as yet, but Lorraine King, who runs the Dargale Wellbeing Hub, and as I've spoken to you before, they have a sort of peer-to-peer support group for menopause also. She was just saying that she's had most of those symptoms. So yeah, this is why it is so important to talk about it, and that's exactly why we're here. But Amelie, you have a workshop that you're putting on to talk about this in more length. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, and I think that was on the back of that Menopause Awareness Month. I thought that I want, to help women to understand, what is perimenopause. So this is a free webinar. It's going to be on the 10th of November. It's via Zoom. So it's really, we welcome every woman who wants to understand, what is perimenopause. I will go much more into details on the disruptors and what the solutions are during that workshop. But really, women who want to understand that is like what is coming up. And then it's also open to women who are on perimenopause, who are really not sure, am I on perimenopause or I'm finished, or want to have some holistic, natural solution, for dealing and taking control of the symptoms. So. And then what we have as well at the end of the workshop, I've got a very good friend of mine, Charlotte from Body Breathwork, will do a 10-15 minutes a breathwork session. So one of the things that you can do to really soothe your nervous system, and I thought it would be really great to offer that to the people coming to the workshop to really experience that. And it's really simple, but it's really nice. So she's going to lead us to a breathwork. So yeah, that is the webinar, and it's happening on the 10th of November. And I think we're going to put the link on.
Definitely will. Yeah. Amazing. And we just had another comment there, just Fiona saying, I can relate to a lot of this. Very interesting. Thank you so much. So yeah, perfect.
Pleasure. And I think this is where, with Fiona comments says, for me, that is important, that women, we open the discussion and we feel free and comfortable, to talk about it, that nothing to be shameful of. It's our natural transition, and also be able to talk to our family about it, because they are here to support us, but if we don't tell them what's going on, they can't. So that's another topic that I'm helping organizations, companies, how to drive the conversation, because this is happening on the workplace, but it's also happening in your household. If you don't tell your partner, if you don't tell your kids why mommy is like dripping down and going to burst into tears, is because that, and is really educating the whole family. So that is also a little bit of another discussion that we could have about how do I tell my kids and my husband I'm on perimenopause.
It's also opening up the discussion with our daughters as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's also opening up for them to be more aware of what. Sorry, what was that? So Joy BT is saying that she saw a big change in her fitness and body during menopause, less energy, extra fat around stomach, etc. Thanks for the webinar. So that's perfect.
Yeah, totally. And I think with what you mentioned, Karen, about talking to our daughters, let's do what our mothers couldn't do it because they didn't know themselves. But now we have an opportunity by us being a little bit more knowledgeable, or at least have that curiosity, and helping them going through that first part or the first transition, because we help them with the period, but that is a second period time, by the way, because that is another big shift. So our first shift is when we get our period. The second shift is where we go our perimenopause. This is the two major shifts, and we go to pregnancy, which is another one. But I guess this is all the work that we can do with our daughters, how we make them comfortable having the period, understanding what's going on. It's the same thing here. So yeah, totally. I think there is a lot of awareness and a little bit of comforting, and it's going to be all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is solutions. Remember, you don't have to suffer. I feel like I'm in what is it? Is that a Disney thing? Anyway, I feel like I was in a happy thing.
The Pied Piper with all this.
I know. I think I should have a music, to finish in a happy, in a happy mode, happy vibe. Yeah, it's not all bad, by the way. I think that is important, but we need, to get how do we do that? And it's really about, the way I work with the client, and is about this holistic approach. Yeah. So it's not just movement. We talk a lot about that today, but it's not just about that. It's how do you nourish your body? How do you nutrients that you put? And then it's about the rest, is about the sleep, is all of different elements. So anyway, if you want to know more, join me on the 10th of November. I will be delighted, to have you. Oh,
Absolutely.
Happy Wheelhouse Club cooking along. This is another thing we do, but that is not the topic today.
Yeah, but again, that's something else that we can take into that nutrition sort of side to it as well. But yeah, we'll post the link below for the link and how to join Amelie's webinar. And yeah, let's keep the conversation going. And if you have any questions about our live today, or you want to reach out to us or anything like that, our inbox is always open. And post in the comments below.
Yeah, and if you have any questions that you're watching the recording, you couldn't attend today, or you have attended today, like, oh my God, I've got a question, is in a couple of days. Feel free, to email Katie and Karen, and I will be happy, to answer those questions. So, like Karen said, let's continue the conversation.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I can't wait for the 10th now.
I know.
Looking forward to that webinar. Sounds brilliant.
It will be
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. See you later.
See ya.
Bye. Stop live.